Hey everyone, welcome to Disneyopolis. I'm Bryan, and today we're here in City Hall and we're going to be talking about my favorite Disney movie gems. Now, I'm not talking about those movies that everybody's familiar with, like Zootopia or Finding Nemo or Lion King or any of the ones that earn lots and lots of box office. But I'm going to be talking specifically about a few of my favorite films that, have been in the consciousness and past and maybe aren't now, or maybe even a few you've never even heard of. And yes, by the way, as promised, I do have on the old school Mickey Mouse here today, the official Mickey Mouse Club logo. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, it won't be a long show today, but I think it's one that you're going to have a lot of fun with. First movie we're going to review and take a look at is this, The Young Black Stallion. Now, this is a movie that at the time it came out was noted for its beautiful scenery, its wide-angle shots. It's not a long movie. It's only 49 minutes long. But the thing that is most notable about this is Disney's first production that was ever made exclusively for IMAX theaters, which is why you probably, if you haven't seen it, that's probably why. I had the opportunity to see this back when it came out. Actually came out back in 2003, 2004, right around that area. So it's been a while since we've actually seen this, but as soon as it came out on DVD and Blu-ray, I made sure that I at least got my copy. I think the Blu-ray didn't come out again till like last year. It was on the 10-year anniversary or something like that. But it's based as a prequel on the original Black Stallion movie, which came out in 1979. This really it stars a girl named Biana Tamini. She played a character named Nira. And she's a young girl who basically befriends a young black stallion. And there's some other people in it. Patrick Elias played the role of Aiden. But anyway, it wasn't a great big wide release. Again, it was only for IMAX theaters. But I gotta tell you, amazing movie. Especially if you've never seen a movie on IMAX and then you see one for the first time. Just imagine Soarin', only several times bigger. The screens are huge. If the process is done right. The detail is stunning, but again, this was filmed in the deserts of Namibia and South Africa, so it's got a really unique feel to it. The action's fantastic, and again, not really a long film, only 49 minutes long upon its release, but if you get an opportunity to find this, watch it, buy it, you can buy it, I'm sure, on Amazon or some other place like that, or maybe some of the streaming services have it, but again, Disney's Young Black Stallion is something I highly recommend. Something I think you have a lot of fun with too, especially if your kids are into equestrian things. I know at the time that we took my children, we actually went to a big IMAX theater, and we took my kids, and I think we even took a couple of friends or something. But again, not anything we were expecting. But wonderful, wonderful movie. Again, Young Black Stallion, and I know it is available for purchase. So if you get the opportunity to purchase it, you might want to make sure that you definitely do so. Next film we're going to talk about is The Rookie. This is one I think that not a lot of people think about when they think of Disney films, and it's kind of one of those that, it did okay in the box office. It was made in 2002. It's a sports drama, so if you like sports, which I happen to, this movie is for you. It was directed by John Lee Hancock, who's gone on to do some other things, and it was produced by Walt Disney Pictures. Unlike some of the others that we've talked about or are going to talk about, this is actually based on the true story of a man by the name of Jim Morris. He was a guy who, growing up, made it into he made it into the major leagues for just a really brief time, or actually it was in a minor league team, and he ended up needing some surgery on his arm, and his career's kind of over, that kind of thing. Well, he went on to coach high school baseball in Texas, and what's really interesting about this is during his time that he took over as the baseball coach at this small school in Texas, really, he challenged his players that if they would win the state title, he would go try out for a major league team, because they knew that he'd been a minor league pitcher and he'd had some level of success, then blew out his arm and whatnot. Anyway, it stars Dennis Quaid. Wonderful film. Just to give you an encapsulation of the story, he decides his team rises to the challenge, and they actually go on to win the state title for their, for their division, as it were. And so they made him keep his promise. He went and tried out for a major league team, the Tampa Bay Rays, and to his astonishment, he was actually throwing fastballs at 93, 94, 95 miles an hour. And as a left-hander in the major leagues, that's a pretty big deal. So anyway, he pitched for Tampa Bay. Went on to it was a very short career. I think he only lasted probably a year and a half or so. But what I find is so interesting is that the team did go on to win the state title, and they end up crediting most of that to the fact that the team didn't have anybody to pitch batting practice, so Jim Morris actually pitched it. So basically these high school students were learning how to hit pitching coming at them at 93, 94, 95 miles an hour. Again, it's a wonderful story, feel-good story. This is available. It's got Dennis Quaid, as I said. Rachel Griffiths is in it as well. Jay Hernandez and Brian Cox. Again, I think it's one you'll really enjoy. It's well done, well prepared. And I remember I got excited when this one came out. Again, this one is called The Rookie. Make sure you get that one and check it out. The third and the last movie I'm going to talk about today, I know most people in the Disney community know about The Rocketeer. Those who are real big Disney fans, such as myself, they know about it. And, it did okay, had a decent box office when it originally came out. It was made in 1991. It was kind of a period superhero film from Walt Disney Pictures. It was actually produced by, I think, Charles Gordon, Lawrence Gordon, Lloyd Levin. Those are some big names in the movie industry. And it was directed by Joe Johnson. But basically it starred Billy Campbell. More notably, it was one of the earlier roles for Jennifer Connelly, who went on later to win a Best Supporting Actress in the movie The Beautiful Mind a few years later. And it also had Alan Arkin, Timothy Dalton, yes, James Bond as a bad guy, Paul Sorvino, and Tiny Ron Taylor. And basically it's based loosely on a character of the same name. It was created by comic book artist and writer Dave Stevens. I love the period that this is set in. It's actually set in, during the time of, I believe it was World War I or World War II, one of the two. But anyway, it received favorable reviews from critics everywhere. And the film was, like I said, it was released, oh gosh, as a matter of fact, not too many years ago, 1991, right around this time of year. June 21st actually is the date that I'm showing for this. But, even though it received decent reviews, it didn't do real well at the box office. But the animation in it, as is typical with Disney, is stunning. As a matter of fact, some of it is kind of ominous. Alan Arkin and Jennifer Connelly, Timothy Dalton, perfect for this movie. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. If you like the period movies from the 1940s and you like superhero movies, this fits right in with that genre. Again, fantastic movie. Can't recommend it enough. As of 2012, there was actually talk of making a remake, not a sequel, but a remake. Even though it didn't do so well at the box office, it actually kind of achieved a cult status of sorts. Where people in the know, or Jennifer Connelly fans, or Timothy Dalton, or Alan Arkin fans, if you're fans of those movies, they actually kind of made this kind of the cult movie that it is. Really, I'm hoping they just recently re-released this to the general market on Blu-ray. Soundtrack is fantastic if you get an opportunity to do that, and I'm not sure, and my producer might be able to verify this, but I believe it was a James Horner score. He actually scored the movie. You can check and make sure, read it up on Wikipedia or whatnot. But anyway, the score is wonderful, movie's wonderful, the visuals are just wonderful. Can I say wonderful enough times? I don't think I can. Anyway, The Rocketeer, again, there hasn't been any announcements on the remake, so we're hoping sooner versus later to get this one remade and back to the general public. Anyway, those are three of my favorite movies, my three hidden Disney gems, as it were. I would like to thank my partner in crime, Paper Duffy. He helped me pick out the three movies. We actually had some other movies that we were going to look at. Some that were actually popular in the past, like the original Parent Trap with Haley Mills. That Darn Cat with Dean Jones and Haley Mills. You know, these are some that were popular back in their day, but kind of been pushed to the background, kind of forgotten. We looked at some of those. And there were some other ones too, like Enchanted. You know, I know that's not really a Disney gem as such, but it did well in the box office. And I never fail to get excited every time I hear the soundtrack or watch the movie. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe down below. We're really excited for some of the shows that are ahead. So listen, have yourself a fantastic day. Thanks for showing up, and we'll see you real soon.